Hello everybody, I'm Lisa with Lisa Capen Quilts, and I have a quick tip about using phone book pages as a temporary stabilizer when making your t-shirt quilts. Stay tuned. Hey you guys, as some of you may know, phone book pages have been used a long time in the sewing room, and it is very thin, lightweight paper that tears very easily. So people use it as a temporary stabilizer when doing all kinds of sewing projects like paper piecing and applique work. Today we're going to use it. I am in the process of making a t-shirt quilt, and all of the blocks are going to be 15-inch square blocks. I came across one of the shirts for this quilt, and it was a lady shirt with a v-neck. So to fill in this area, I just cut some fabric from the back of the shirt to fill in this area, stabilized it like I normally would, and now we're going to do a zigzag stitch to make this permanent. And then when everything is quilted, it's going to look fantastic. But see, even with the stabilizer, this shirt is very flimsy. And so if I were to run this through my machine, I might get some puckering, which I want to try to avoid. So to avoid that, I'm going to use this on the back of my shirt as I do my zigzag stitches along the seam to stabilize this shirt so we don't get the puckers or the wrinkles. And it also helps your stitches stay nice and uniform, and you get a lot less skipped stitches when you stabilize your fabric correctly. So I'm going to move you over to the machine. I'm going to show you. I'm going to use 2 sheets because this shirt is very, very thin, and so is this paper. So I'll show you at the machine how we're going to do this. Okay, you guys, I'm at the machine, and you see I have my t-shirt block here. I ripped out 2 pages of the phone book, and I just lay them down underneath my block, making sure that the paper covers all the areas that I want to sew, and that would be right along the seam line. Now when I stabilized this shirt, I did run some school glue along the seam, and then laid this backing fabric behind it, and then stabilized it like every other block. And then of course when I trimmed everything away, you can see everything looks really nice, and it all just sort of blends in. So to make this more permanent, we are going to do a zigzag stitch right along that seam where the neckline meets this backing fabric, and maybe a little hard to see, but there you go. All right, so we have our paper behind the fabric, and we're just going to do a zigzag stitch right along the neckline. And I've already set all my settings that I wanted for this, which would be a zigzag stitch, and I've set the length and the width to what I wanted it to look like. We're going to go ahead and get started. Sorry. My mind is going in 50 million different directions. We're going to bring the needle to the right side of our neckline, little seam there, and just do a zigzag stitch right through that V. Without the phone book paper, it is very easy to get a lot of puckering just from the motion of the needle going through the t-shirt material. And so the phone book paper really does stabilize that a lot. Also, I found that without using the phone book pages, my stitches wanted to skip. And so now whenever I have a project like this in my quilts, t-shirt quilt or just regular quilt, I use this stabilizer underneath of where I'm sewing. And just like that, it's as simple as that. You can see the machine, pardon my voice, the machine does not have any issues sewing through the paper. Let's take this off, and I'm going to bring you over to the table and I will show you how to remove your paper. Okay, you guys, you can probably see this light is way better over here. And we have done the stay stitch through the neckline, and you can see there's no puckers or wrinkles and everything is nice and flat. And so now we can begin removing this paper, because you're not going to want to leave that in your quilt. You're going to want to remove that. You can use one layer. I like to use two on materials that are really flimsy. So even though we've used a lightweight stabilizer, it's still pretty flimsy. Let me trim some threads here. Here we go. Now, I usually just hold firm your block that you're removing the paper from, and to pull in the opposite direction. And you can see how easy that comes off. Just like that. There's one sheet gone. Now you may have some little bits that you don't want to fuss with getting it all out, and those little zigzaggy stitches there, and that is completely fine. We're not going to worry with all of it. And there we go. Some of these little pieces may stay in there forever. However, they'll soften up and just stay there like that. And there we go. You can see how nice and clean those stitches are. No skipped stitches, and everything is nice and flat. No puckers or wrinkles. And so I was doing this and just thought I would share that quick tip with you. If you find this useful, I'd love to hear some comments or how you use Phonebook paper in your quilts. And make sure to join me over at Lisa Capen Quilts, where you're free to share all of your work. I would love to see what you're working on. And if you're interested in making a t-shirt quilt, you can check out my latest video I did yesterday, where we're going to do a quilt along, and it's going to be a beginner's style, very basic and easy to do t-shirt quilt, and we're starting in January, so you can check out that video and start getting your supplies ready. Thanks for watching, you guys. I hope you found this helpful. Have a great day.